it's me, DejaB, and I'm back at it again with another video. Today, I'm going to be starting you guys off with my CharLIT series, okay? We are bringing you to CharLIT, okay? You feeling where I'm going? Anyway, so I just am going to be getting out there, acting like a tourist in my own city, you feel me? And honestly, just trying to get to know CharLIT better. There are a lot of things that I already know, but a lot of things that I want to learn, and I will take you guys on that journey with me. So today, to start this series off, I am going to be telling you guys about what it's like living in CharLIT, the things that are in CharLIT. Okay, cool. So if you are thinking about moving to CharLIT, visiting CharLIT, then this is something that can be useful to you. So let's get into this video. Okay, so first, if you're looking for certain types of jobs, like IT jobs, bank jobs, some sort of like maybe engineering or tech jobs, I said IT, that's the same thing as tech, then CharLIT is definitely the place for you. There is some space for creatives, but there's not as big of a market for that here. So if you are creative, then you're definitely going to be rolling on the river. If you ain't already got the following, the connections and those types of things, it might be a little bit more challenging for you than getting a bank job or a tech job. Now, if you don't know, Bank of America is big here. Honeywell has moved here or is planning to build a campus here. Lowe's, Home Improvements, built their campus here. It was originally in Mooresville, which is about 30 minutes away from here. Mooresville, not Morrisville, for people who might be a little confused. Morrisville is near the RDU area. Mooresville is near CharLIT. So the Lowe's Home Improvements campus was originally in Mooresville, and now it is in CharLIT in the South End. So that might be, you know, something that you're looking for. So Bank of America, Lowe's, Honeywell. Let me look at my notes. Harris Teeter is also, I think it's in Matthews, but that's not that far. That's like right on the outskirts of CharLIT. And so Harris Teeter is gonna be pretty big here if you're a truck driver, if you're into logistics, or you know, things like that. Lowe's, Harris Teeter is gonna be good for you. Also, Food Lion, their headquarters is based in Salisbury, and if you live in like the North CharLIT or Eastern CharLIT area, is really only about a 20-minute drive without traffic to get to Salisbury. 20-25 minutes, depending on how fast you drive. Okay, so if you a speed demon and got a lead foot like me, it ain't gonna take you no time to get there. But yeah, it's not that far. So, and then there's also, like, you know, a lot of IT companies. I work for a tech company. Not gonna say the name, but we have worked for some companies like Microsoft. We've worked with Lowe's Home Improvement. We've worked with, oh my gosh, there's some others. But our company does a lot of digital work. If you're a graphic designer, if you are into cloud development or data engineering, stuff like that, then you'll definitely be able to find a lot of jobs like that in CharLIT, and I'm in that conversation there. Okay, I hope that was, you know, good enough for you. So about creatives, there are specific areas where the art scene is thriving, and that is in the NODA area and in the Uptown area. There are lots of, you know, museums. There are bars and places where people go and play music, where bands go and play music. There are there's a lot of art, murals, and Uptown definitely makes it a point to have some artsy things going on up there. Of course, there are museums. I'll get into that in a little bit And then in the uptown South End-ish area, they do always have like, they do yearly have like certain art projects going on. So of course there are art exhibits in the museums, like the Batchelor Museum of Modern Art, the Mint Museum. But there's this one thing that they have every year, and I cannot think of the name for some reason. I'm trying to look it up. In uptown Charlotte, and mostly in the South End area. The other areas I ain't gonna get into at this moment, but yeah, so there is an art scene. There's not a big music scene, but Charlotte has potential. Okay. There's another thing that you should know. Our uptown / downtown area, is technically a downtown area, but Charlotte different, so they call it uptown. It is roughly 2 by 2 miles long and wide. It is not that big. Like, you literally drive into it and you're out of it, boom boom bam. Like, it's literally like, that's it. Like, it's not that big of a thing. Okay, now it is growing and it is expanding, and honestly I feel like the west side gonna be uptown before we know it, because they moving on up through there for real. Now there are some attractions in Charlotte, or in the Charlotte area. We have Carowinds, of course. That's on the border of North Carolina and South Carolina. So like half of Carowinds is in Charlotte and the other half is in Rock Hill. I don't know, somewhere. We'll put a map up. But yeah, so Carowinds, if you're into amusement parks and things like that, Carowinds is open like spring to fall. And then there are some other like amusement, smaller, do you call them amusement parks? I guess. There's a Frankie's. They say it's called Frankie's in Charlotte, but it's really in Huntersville, like right off of 485. There's the White Water Center, which is really nice. It's really beautiful and a good time. I went there last year on my birthday. They have like whitewater rafting, bike routes. I don't know what you call it, bike routes. You know, you can go there to hike, you can go there to zip line, you can kayak, paddleboard, and a few other things. That's a really fun experience if you're into like outdoorsy nature type things. Honestly, it's free to just walk in and have a picnic. Like, you don't have to pay for admission, but you do have to pay to enjoy the rides and attractions. Also, a thing I forgot to mention for jobs, if you are into NASCAR, then NASCAR is, I believe, technically in Concord, but Concord is right on the outskirts of Charlotte. NASCAR does have the NASCAR Hall of Fame in Charlotte as well, and if you're into that type of thing, then that is here for you. There's Urban Air Trampoline Park. There's a lot of different trampoline parks throughout Charlotte as well. And Discovery Place Science, it's mostly for like family type things and kids, but there is this thing that used to happen. It's not currently happening right now, I guess because of COVID, but there's this thing called Science on the Rocks, and I believe it happened it might have only been once a month, like every first Tuesday of the month or second Tuesday or something like that. But that's just for adults, so you do like, you know, different science experiments and stuff like that, which is cool. And also another big attraction are the sports teams, and we have a professional basketball team, football team, baseball team, and they are bringing a soccer team here, I believe. So we have the Panthers, the North Carolina Panthers for football. We have the Charlotte Hornets for basketball. We have a minor league basketball team, the Charlotte Knights, and then the future soccer league. I don't know what that's going to be called, but I'm assuming it's coming. Then there are some places like some food halls or working innovative halls that you can visit, like Optimus Hall. Optimus Hall houses a Duke Energy building, but Optimus Hall, there's a lot of different restaurants, some bakeries. It's a good space to maybe work at during the week because it's going to be more quiet than on the weekends, but it's a public working space if you want a change of scenery. It's mostly restaurants. There is like this shop in there that has like notebooks, paper, I don't remember the name, but that is in there as well. And then Camp North End has their own, like, I'll just say like food truck plaza maybe. They host different types of events there. There's lots of opportunity for innovation and networking. They have like pop-ups, like different types of pop-up shops, like clothing and other businesses as well. So that's why I call them like hubs for innovation. So, you know, both places you can get good food, you can network, you can work, and you can just overall have a good time if that's what you're trying to do. And then another thing that is very close to Charlotte is Lake Norman. I believe Lake Norman is technically in Morrisville, but it's not that far. They have some like dinner boat tours, and you can jet ski, you can rent a boat, you can do all types of beach like things there as well, especially in the summertime when it's warm. That's when you want to do it, so that's nice. And then another thing that I love about Charlotte is that it's not really too far from other things. Like, it's a 3.5 to 4 hour drive to South Carolina beaches, or it's gonna get a little higher for North Carolina beaches. And then mountains are not too far as well. Crowder's Mountain is about 30 minutes away. And then it's a little more or less to get to like Asheville, which is like a mountain city, or Boone, or Mount Airy, which is actually in Virginia, but it's not too far away from the mountains either. You'll definitely get to the mountains before you can get to the beach. But if you're into that type of scenery, then Charlotte is a good place for you to be so that you can get there quickly. So now that we have gotten through jobs, things to do, we're gonna talk about living, like cost of living. The cost of living is continuously rising in Charlotte, also in other places in North Carolina, like Durham if you live in like the Research Triangle area or the RDU area, period. When North Carolina figured out all these people was moving here because it was cheap to live, they said, oh, you paying $500K for a 1-bedroom up there, you can pay $500K for a 3 or 4 bedroom here. And to you guys who stay in LA, New York City, Miami, this might seem cheap, and it probably is cheap for you, but for us North Carolinians, they doing a little bit too much, okay? But for us regular schmegular people, it's getting a little bit harder for us North Carolinians to keep up. The cost of living is continuously rising, and the wage costs are not rising as quickly for a lot of us. Now, I'm fortunate to be paid a very decent wage for what I do, but everyone else isn't as fortunate. And honestly, it's becoming a little bit harder for us young millennials. Anyway, so like I was saying, where a lot of people are having to look to the outskirts of Charlotte for housing, and it's because the costs to live in the city are actually becoming a bit more expensive, especially if you live South Charlotte and around Uptown Charlotte. Like around Uptown Charlotte, there are like houses, but I'm saying like they're not townhouses, but they're townhouse size houses going for $700K just to be close to Uptown for a 3-bedroom house that's the size of a townhouse. And townhouses in other areas of Charlotte are getting up there too. High 300s, 400s. Now low 300s, high 200s is what we were previously, you know, used to. But now that everybody want to come here because they think it's cheap, it ain't getting so cheap for us. So that's just another thing to consider, especially if you're coming from a small town. Charlotte may look nice, but it's not going to cost you your small town penny. It's gonna cost you more than your small town pennies. So that's just something to take into consideration. Also, what I've heard other people say, I didn't come up with this term myself, we are currently in a seller's market, not a buyer's market, because the sellers are selling their houses for $500K when it's really only worth like $300. And even looking to rent a house has become a little bit absurd. In my opinion, renting apartments has become a little absurd too. But even if you go to look at renting like a 3-bedroom house with 2 baths or something like that, you could easily be charged $1,400 to $1,600 to rent. Let me tell you something. My current rent is $1,000 flat. It started out a little bit cheaper, but every year it goes up because they have to meet the market. I don't know why they have to meet the market, but these companies, they really be robbing us for the same thing that she was paying for 3 years ago. It's the exact same, but I'm paying more for it than I was. But anyway, yeah, so if you don't want to stay in an apartment and you want to rent, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be a little hard if you don't got that coins. Who wants to spend $1,600 a month for something that they don't own? It's a little absurd. It's a little absurd. But that's just another example. And then renting apartments, it's like some areas not too crazy. Like my apartment complex has been, the apartment size I have, I think, is 878 square feet. And originally I was only paying, but that was like 3 years ago. Yeah, like 3 years ago, I was paying like $888, and then it went up to $945, and now it's $1,000. But it's a decently sized square footage, and I appreciate that, because some people, if you want to stay closer to uptown or near a mall, it's gonna cost you more than that for less square footage. Yeah, and we ain't even gonna talk about, I stay in a 1-bedroom, we ain't even gonna talk about if you want to stay in a 2-bedroom, $1,300. Oh my gosh, $1,300, oh my gosh. No thank you. No thank you. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about traffic. So I would say our traffic is just like, you know, it's like basic traffic. It's like basic traffic. There's traffic in the peak times, but I don't honestly think that it's anything too crazy unless you're going from uptown to like South Charlotte into South Carolina. Then the traffic is gonna get a little crazy, but or 85 going 85 south, the traffic does get a little bit crazier. But other than that, traffic's not too bad. Ain't nothing like Atlanta or LA or Baltimore. Baltimore traffic can get a little crazy, or like in that VA area once you get to like Richmond toward DC. Traffic's pretty, I think traffic's pretty good. So if traffic is a concern, then take that into consideration depending on where you may live. If you don't already know, there are 2 major highways coming through the city. We have I-85 and I-77. Both kind of go in 2 different directions. 85 is going more like this, but going downward, and then 77 is going more like that. And though we have both of those major highways, neither of them get you directly to South Park Mall. So you can take 77, but then you have to go through all the back streets in order to get to South Park Mall. It's not like how you can take 40 straight to South Point, or 40 straight to Crabtree, or 85 straight to Concord Mills. They just completely said, okay, we're gonna make it a little, we're gonna make you take a little detour. And you just gonna have to be all right with that. So okay, you know, if you want to go to South Park, you just got to be all right with that. So now we're going to talk about transportation. Our transportation is a little bit behind. I ain't gonna hold you. It's not horrible. I guess the bus system isn't horrible, but our light rail system, we currently only have 2 lines. We have the blue line that goes from like UNC Charlotte all the way to South Charlotte. Now, Charlotte is this circle around my head. This is Charlotte. I guess I'll just insert. If you take the blue line, it's only going like this. It doesn't reach all the other parts of Charlotte that are out here. And then the Gold Line, which goes through Uptown, I believe it goes to CPCC, and it stopped at the CharLIT transportation system, which is like near the epicenter. It's like in the heart of Uptown, but they are currently expanding it, and they do have other plans for light rail extensions, which I believe are supposed to be happening by 2030. So hopefully they will get to it a little bit quicker. I think North Carolina, honestly, in general, is behind on transportation, and I'm not gonna get into my theories about why, but yeah, so the transportation is a little slow, even though I believe CharLIT has had a light rail, some sort of light rail, for at least like 50 or 60 years. We could have been, I was only trying to get ahead. We could have been way ahead by now, but them city planners, in regards to that type of transportation, it's definitely no New York, no Baltimore. Hell, Atlanta's metro system might be better than ours, or LA. So it definitely does not meet those expectations at all, but hopefully one day it will. CharLIT does have an airport, CharLIT International. And so American Airlines is the biggest airline, and then they do have Southwest, JetBlue, Spirit, and Delta and United, but those airlines aren't as big. So now we can get into food and nightlife. So food and bars. Now there are some bars in the university area. There are plenty of restaurants everywhere. However, when we're speaking of the new, innovative, crafty, fancy restaurants, they're either built in Uptown or South End. South End is more than loaded. It's more than loaded. It's so loaded with restaurants, bars, and breweries. If you are into drinking beer, you'll never miss out on the opportunity to try a new beer, because it's loaded. It's loaded. South End is loaded. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I feel like they kind of neglect the northeast and west. The north side of Charlotte is pretty nice. The east side is pretty decent. The west side and the east side are where more urban people live, and so I think that's one of the reasons why the new innovative fancy schmancy places do not decide to go there. But I think that if they chose to expand into different places, it would give each part or each area of Charlotte more space and more time to shine. But you know, Charlotte is obsessed with South End and the South. I don't really know why. If you want to learn about new restaurants and things opening, there is what was formerly known as the CharLIT Agenda. It's called Axios Charlotte now, I believe. And then there's also Charlotte Got a Lot. They usually post a lot about new openings and things like that. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this before, when I said Uptown is expanding, they are definitely trying to gentrify the west side and moving new types of apartments and housing and different types of things into the west side, and those are where the more urban people live. So that's another thing to note. And lastly, we are going to talk about nightlife. I'm not gonna lie to you, there isn't really a nightlife, especially for people who are more melanated. There used to be some clubs, you know, like 935, Level, Label, and Sweet, I believe. They're all closed now. I think Sweet was in the epicenter. I believe it's closed. But a lot of places where black people and melanated people would go to have fun are closed now. I'm not sure exactly. I mean, I know 935 had a lot of stuff going on. I'm not sure why the other clubs have closed, but you can look into that yourself if you would like to. There's not really a place for people like me who listen to the types of music that I listen to. Like, there's not specific places made for me to like go out and party. There's plenty of bars, there are some clubs, but they're catered toward a different type of clientele. Not anything that I'm really into per se, but even some people who look like me might be into that, and that's fine. I'm not really a partier anyway. The Epicenter used to be really popping. Like, there's still some like restaurants and businesses there. That's cool, I guess. But they used to have this thing called 9 after 5 on Thursday, live after 5 on Thursdays, and it used to be a place where young professionals could go after work and, you know, just have a good time and all of that. And they took it away. Not sure why, but they did. And I mean, that was a space for Black professionals to also, you know, go out and have a good time, and now that's gone as well. Also, a lot of the clubs and stuff in the Epicenter, I believe, have been closed as well, and I think they're turning it more into businesses, and that might be also due to like some crime, but fun things are gone. The fun things are gone. And then of course they moved CIAA, so CharLIT no longer has that either. So, you know, we don't really have much of a nightlife. We don't really have much of a brunch life per se, and that's probably partly because of alcohol laws about serving bottomless drinks or unlimited drinks for one price. So, you know, CharLIT is thriving in some aspects, but some aspects it is neglecting. If you are coming to work, then this may be the place for you. If you are coming for some adventures, then it may be the place for you. But if not, it may not be. So that is CharLIT. Maybe some things will change in the future. That's CharLIT from my perspective. I'm a millennial with no kids, so I haven't currently thought about like the school system like that, so I don't really know. I'm not quite sure what that's like. I think CharLIT has a lot of work to do. They need to stop putting everything in South End. But that's all I got for you today. I hope this helped you learn a little bit about CharLIT, and go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit that like button, and I will see you guys in my next one. Peace.